Alrighty. So, so the purpose of this is just to get a clear picture as to focusing on moving forward. Like, we're not trying to be critical, we're just trying to look through this and see if there's anything that you think could be strong, like what are the good things that you're doing.
I will say I don't really like this lesson. I've done this lesson for a few years now, and every year I think about doing something different, and I don't. So I would like some tips or strategies on how to make it more interactive, because it's a lot of direct instruction.
Okay, yeah.
And this is a preview for non-essential. Do you need to know that Paris is the most romantic city in the world to understand this sentence? Yes. You do not need to know that it's the most romantic city,
no?
that it has no stop signs. That's extra information.
I think ours on.
In the world to understand this. Number 8, standing off one or more words and interrupt the flow of a sentence. So this is again.
Is there a transition to a different activity?
Yeah. Did you want me to fast forward to that?
Well, it's up to you.
You can. I'm just going over.
Like, if you think that we've gained
Yeah.
enough about this segment.
To the practice 1 through 14, you'll just add the commas where you think they are necessary, and you guys can work with your tables. All right. And I'll go over it as well.
Is that normal?
For Kyle to switch?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's group work and he's alone.
He is alone. And he and Carter are really good friends and they talk a lot. So I split them up during direct instruction but they do work well together, so I let them sit next to each other and work with each
Are
other.
they the only instance in this class of that?
Yes. Everyone else works pretty well together.
And is the purpose of this segment collaboration? Or is it like optional?
The collaboration is optional. The purpose of it is to do comma practice, but they are allowed to collaborate if needed. So they can go ahead and do all the commas alone, like you'll see ours on there is working alone.
Yeah. I just didn't know if that was the focus or not, because there were a couple of students who immediately started working.
Yeah, no, it's just it's an option if they want.
Okay.
And then I'm filling out the answer key while they work as well.
Number 6, go ahead and skip. That has a dialogue rule. We haven't gone over dialogue rules yet, so I'll just explain as we go over it.
So right there, I just switched it because our standards changed this year. We no longer teach dialogue, but it's an old
sheet.
Yeah. Which is too bad because I do feel like, and it was interesting because when I actually went around and checked, a lot of them knew where to put the comma in that one.
Maybe that's why it's out of the standards.
They do have prior knowledge.
How long does your work period last?
Work period is typically, I think 31 right there on the clock, and class ends at 45.
Like, is there a timed transition to this activity, or?
No, it's just whenever we finish the notes, and then for the remainder of class, we'll work on it, and then we'll go over the answers. And then if we run out of time to go over the answers, we do it as a warm-up the next day.
So since it's not time-oriented, what indicators do you use to decide when to move on?
I go around and I monitor and I look. And once I see a majority of students have at least 3/4 of it done, I'll start to go over it.
What was that?
That was them goofing off and me saying you're not even done and getting them back on task. So they like working together, they can work together, they do require redirection. And this is an advanced class.
Is?
It is, yeah. It's an advanced.
Trees, where am
Was there coordination between you and Kyle to establish answering that question?
Yeah, so if you noticed here, so there Kyle was talking, so I paused and looked at him, and then I had him
The
answer.
math lesson today, did you? We're not putting it, Kyle. After today.
Just to check to make sure that he was doing the work.
I'm going to ask is just to get a baseline as to how you felt that lesson went, because some days are great, some days aren't, and it's totally up to us. So on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the worst lesson you've ever taught, and 10 being the best lesson that you ever taught, how would you rank this lesson?
I'd rank it a solid 6.
6.
A 6. I think
Okay.
it's boring. Like, it's not very engaging. I kind of, with a lot of rules, like there's 10 rules I go over, and because of that, there is a time factor that I do have to move through it quickly, which I didn't notice till watching the video of how quickly it is and how quickly I move through the rules. So I give it a 6.
So what about it do you think went well? Because you said that the pacing was a little off, that you weren't really a big fan of how long it took, but...
I think when I was walking around and seeing their responses on, like, the practice and all that, they were getting it. They were getting mostly the right answer. And so it was obvious that they were understanding the material for the most part. So I thought that went well. And the notes went well. It didn't, because of the time restraint, I do slotted notes so they don't have to write down everything on the board.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the slotted notes are good.
Mm-hmm.
And they, for the most part, got the material. I just think it could have been more effective.
Yeah. From the video, those kids were definitely engaged, and they were using the graphic organizer that you gave them. Which is interesting, because you say... you made a comment about how it moves too quick, but the kids are getting it, and the slotted notes do help.
Yeah.
So, like, how would you like to see things move slower to improve the lesson?
I think in the answering the questions of them when they raise their hand, I'm not giving enough time to think. I'm kind of calling on the first person that raises their hand and moving on after that. So the kids in the class that are getting it but just take a little bit longer to process even what I said, not even the question itself, aren't getting an opportunity to share, or I might be moving too fast in that instance.
Okay.
And that's kind of why I do this strategy at the end, and it's a strategy that I use sometimes. I don't know if it worked well for this lesson, but when I have the whole class respond rather than just one person raising the hand of, like, where should we put it before or after this word, it's kind of like a visual cue, and it wasn't really good shown off in this lesson. But in other lessons, I'll be like, especially if we're going over multiple choice, I can very quickly hear if everyone shouts A and one person shouts, like, or half the class shouts B and half the class shouts A. It's very quick feedback of, oh, okay, so some people didn't get this. I need to go over that gap and misconception. Why did 4 of the kids say B? And because we're all shouting it together, you're getting more people who are answering rather than if they don't want to raise their hand.
Okay. One thing, one strategy for that, and not to be interjecting anything, but I do know that it's oftentimes in class that we'll use a finger measurement.
Yeah.
Like, do you think maybe in the future there might be something for that?
In the past,
do you think it's A, like, hold your finger up if you think the comma goes here, if you think it goes there? You know?
No, I do think that would work a lot better. And I've done stuff like that in the past, and I kind of weaned off of it for no particular reason. So I would like to go back to some sort of, like, I used to do, like, nose, chin, cheek. And they would have to put, because that way it's really discreet, because they could almost go like this, and, like, from their friends telling their friends couldn't tell what they were putting, but I visually could tell what they were putting.
In order to isolate exactly what we would like to change, I've got a couple of questions for you. If there's any change that you would like to occur. So if you had to change something to move this 6 to a 10, what would those differences be? And I think we talked a little bit about that just now, but, like, specifically.
Yeah, I think better answering system, more time. I almost wish I could do more like just to like spread it out, because it's a lot of direct instruction, and then just practice at the end, of almost interwork some practice in the middle, like break it up, like instead of doing all 10 rules and then practice, do like the first 3 and then some practice, and then the next
that's
3.
a really good idea.
Yeah, I think I would like to break that up. That way it's more interactive throughout, and I can also identify gaps early, because if they're not getting like one of the rules, it's harder to tell at the very end, and then it's harder to go back, where if we immediately go over the first 3 and then do practice over it, you can identify gaps faster and fill those needs.
Right. So pacing wise, maybe in the future we would break this lesson up
I think
into like each specific rule, and then practice, rule, then practice, rule, then practice.
Just to chunk it more.
Yeah,
I think I
that would do really well, because you mentioned how you were afraid that it was moving too quick.
Yes.
And I think that would slow it down and help isolate those rules for those students.
Yeah.
So they would know what to do moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
What would your students be doing differently if this class was a 10? So not even just our organization strategies. What do you want to see from the kids in a 10 situation?
I mean, the kids are great. Like they did a really good job. Like that is a very good class. There was a few kids I noticed in the video who were kind of goofing off and not particularly engaged, and that could be solved by the chunking, just because it is so long of just me talking, that like it does get hard to like get engaged. Or like I noticed one girl, she didn't really like perk up until like a few minutes into the lesson. So I do think that like by chunking it more consistent, like by doing the immediate checks, it would get them involved earlier. And I think that's what I would like to see, is like more involvement throughout the lesson rather than just at the end.
Yeah. So how would we measure that moving forward? The participation.
The participation moving forward. I think just general, I would like to, if I were to do this again or do this again, I would like to be able to see the students of the potential misconceptions. Like if you noticed in the video, a lot of them had a misconception over like the, when you would direct address someone and you put a comma beside the name, what they were doing is that they were seeing a name and immediately putting a comma. So moving forward to get to that goal and to like analyze that, I would hope to see less misconceptions at the end of the practice and be able to address those and just noticing more participation as a whole throughout the lesson. Like I could tell kids were drifting off.
Yeah. Okay. So you would like to see more students overall participate, and I guess these measurements would just be like non-formal, just making sure.
Oh yeah, non-formal, just
because you mentioned at the very beginning that like you were afraid that only one student was specifically going to be interacting,
and I was actually surprised to see that he wasn't like
when
I was teaching, it seemed like one of the students was answering all the questions, and he loves answering questions, so I was actually surprised to see that there were more people than I remembered answering questions.
Yeah, when we watched back, it definitely that one student answered like twice.
Yes,
I think, which compared to the rest of the class, it was about in line.
Yeah,
but that is interesting. Okay. So the two things that we want to do is like on the teacher side is chunk. Yeah. Which is pretty measurable. We can obviously make sure that we're integrating those steps. And on the student side, maybe a little bit more opportunity to interact. Yes. But the chunking might provide those opportunities if we give them additional time. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. Do you want that to be your goal? Is that what you would like?
Yeah, I would like that, because I do find myself relying on direct instruction a lot. A lot of my lessons focus on direct instruction first and then group practice at the end. And sometimes we'll do a little bit of student or teacher led examples throughout, but I do think I would like to interwork instead of two big chunks. I would like to split up my lessons into more interaction throughout the instruction. I think that would be a good goal for me, because that's one thing that I struggle with my presentations, is that I do rely a little bit too much on direct instruction. So to integrate more interaction throughout, I think would be a good goal.
Okay. So do you feel like that goal would be important to you? Like, if there's, like, is there something else here that matters more to you? Like, maybe it's less relevant, but it matters more. Or do you think that this one, this is just, like, this does matter? You would feel like implementing this in the future.
I would definitely feel like implementing this, because that's one thing that I, like, looking back on my PowerPoints, it's a lot of direct instruction first and then that. So that is just more interaction throughout would be ideal.
Okay, cool. That's good. It sounds like we've got a pretty good plan for moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So, teaching strategies.
Mm-hmm.
We talked a little bit about ears, nose, the point indicators for offering those opportunities to make sure all students engage.
Yeah.
We also talked about the chunking, which I think will really help go a long way. Do you, like, are you thinking about all of them, a little here, a little there? What do we think we want to implement? Or do you think there might be something else? Like, would you want to look elsewhere? Or would you like me to look elsewhere to see if there might be strategies out there?
Yeah, maybe more strategies of how to do interaction throughout the direct instruction.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would like to focus on that.
So, how to increase interaction through direct instruction.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, we can definitely look into that and see what's what. So, next steps for, what do you think your next steps are for this?
Next steps, I would like to, like, pull up, like, what, like, I'm planning to teach in, like, the next few weeks and really examine, like, okay, what do I imagine the kids doing while I'm direct instructing, and see if I can, like, implement those breaks within it for more student participation.
So, isolate in future lessons potential chunking to break up that direct instruction.
Yeah.
And like we said, maybe incorporating strategies for improving like collaboration or like in
for more
to engage. Okay. So I guess that'll be my next steps, is that I'll go out and I'll see what strategies there are in tandem to that. And like we can continue to coordinate and see what's working versus what's not working as we move towards getting everyone in the room to participate. Is that the goal? Every student? Like to get feedback from every student? Because you mentioned you liked the group shout.
I do like the group
because
shout.
You could gauge every student.
Every student, yeah.
But that is a lot to hold into your head. Like maybe this person, because like how you thought that Ariz was the one doing all of the answering, like maybe that's also invading the situation, or
it's more of the reason why I like to do the group one is not to so much as get feedback from every single student, but to get a general consensus of gaps of misunderstanding. Like if they're all, like if I hear everyone be like, oh, the answer is A, but then I hear 3 B's, I know that, okay, I need to address that misconception. Like, there's a reason why they think the answer might be B, and I need to go over that.
Okay.
And I need to clear up that misunderstanding. And so what I do is that it's not so much getting it, I just let a general group consensus, and I don't even notice who said B. Like, I'm not looking for particular student data. I'm looking for a general consensus to identify gaps so I can go over it whole class. Because even if a majority of class got it, there's a reason why so many kids got it wrong, and we need to address that.
I think that's interesting, and I think that's an argument towards maybe doing the nose, ears, of answer, because you said that you really like getting the rationale as to why and to address the misconceptions. So if you have students indicate their choice rather than going with the crowd potentially, you could go, okay, well, why'd you say there?
Yes.
Why'd you say there? Why'd you say there? And so that way you could get a better idea as to those misconceptions to address. Yeah. So I think that strategy might be something we might inner work moving forward to get those different perspectives, if that's the goal, instead of just student driven.
Yes.
Because that would help you isolate the different opinions of what's going on.
So I can address that.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think we've had a pretty good picture moving forward. Thank you for agreeing to do this. I know that this was a lot of your time, so I do appreciate it. Yeah. Cool.
Right. Thank you for your help.
Yeah, and of course.